Hello, and welcome to Mid-American Gardener, the show where you ask the questions and we answer them. We have a great show tonight. We have a really good panel, a group of fine people that answer questions all day long. I'm Shane Coulter. I'm taking the place of Diane Nolan, and I'm one of the owners at Country Arbors Nursery and Onarga Nursery in Urbana, and I pretty much take the questions and problems you have times 1,000 and try and attempt to make money doing it, and it's been a rough year this year. So we're going to go ahead and introduce our panel tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and start with Chuck.
Hi, I'm Chuck Voigt. I'm a vegetable and herb specialist here at the University of Illinois, Department of Crop Sciences, which is where horticulture is housed. And tonight I thought I would bring something green because we're all just dying for spring to get here and something good to start happening. So I thought the mint looked pretty good in the greenhouse today. This is a great spearmint, sometimes called improved spearmint, but a nice lady in Kentucky was very enterprising, and she renamed it Kentucky Kernel Spearmint and made it the official spearmint of the Kentucky Derby, and sold a lot of plants and starts of it that way. The other one I brought is chocolate mint, which is a variety of peppermint, but it also illustrates how invasive mints can be, and gives me a chance to make the point that if you're going to grow mints, and I think you should, they need to be in some sort of a contained area, like between a house and a sidewalk, in a half-barrel planter. Some people put them in chimney flue tiles, but you still have to keep an eye on them because it can drop down one of those stolons and shoot it out 6 feet before you know what's happened, and pretty soon you've got a whole yard of mint, which wouldn't be that unpleasant, but might not be exactly what you're after. If you have like a shady bank that you want to stabilize, that might be a good place for that. This is called chocolate mint because it has the smell of those little chocolate mints that you might find on your pillow in a fine hotel. My biochemist friends like to burst the bubble and tell me that there's absolutely nothing in it that smells like chocolate, but I defy you to smell it and not get that. Generally, if you're cooking or just generally using mint, a spearmint is what you want. The peppermints have a lot of menthol, which makes them taste a little medicine-y, but also peppermint is good to settle your stomach after a heavy or a greasy meal or something. So there actually is some medicinal value to that one. So those after-dinner mints, at least originally, had a real purpose. So I'll send that down the way, and you can all have a little spearmint experience as we go on.
Yeah, I love mints, but they do jump. That's the one thing, is that wherever they are, they're usually going to move somewhere else. And I also learned that you stay at much better hotels than I do. I've never, ever gotten any of those mints.
It's always the Confidence Hotel.
U of I's treating you well. Marianne, you need to introduce yourself and the question.
Good evening, Marianne Metz. I am a horticulturalist and landscape designer, and I have an expertise in perennials, but really enjoy a lot of other things in the world of horticulture. I have an email question this evening. It's about passion flowers, or passiflora. The question is, I have 3 passifloras, and all 3 of them grew very well, but had no flowers. Any suggestion on fertilizer or what else I might do to get these to bloom? I think the first question to ask about passiflora, we live in Zone 5 here in Central Illinois, 5A or B or ish, and most passifloras are not hardy here. They're tropicals. There is one Passiflora incarnata maypop that is somewhat hardy in Zone 5B, and some years it will be, some years it won't, some years it'll be very invasive, and it shouldn't have any trouble blooming if you have it in full sun. And in organic material, the soil needs to be a little loose and friable and have some organic material in it. That's probably a good thing for most plants, but passifloras really like that. But the full sun is really important. That's probably a minimum of 5 hours a day. So that's one of the reasons, or several of the reasons, that it may not be blooming. First, that it's not hardy. Second, that you're not giving enough sun. And third, maybe the soil needs some more organic material.
And we'll find out this year if it even comes back and is that
marginal,
problem.
if it was ish.
Yeah, for our viewers in this area, it may be one more thing to worry about.
Yes, that's exactly right.
All right, Jim, you have a show and tell, and introduce yourself as well.
I'm Jim Schuster. I'm a retired plant pathologist at the University of Illinois. And I have a question from Keith about apple trees that have developed little bumps on them. Well, they're not necessarily little, but he asked what insect would cause that. And it's not an insect problem. It is actually a physiological problem. And it is generally brought on by certain kinds of grafted fruit trees. And the tree is trying to do is produce roots under the bark but above the ground. And low light temperatures that are between 68 and 95 degrees and high humidity tend to encourage this to happen. And up until recently, there wasn't much you could do about it. However, they have found that there's a product called Gallex, Gallex, made by Agrobiochem, and that Gallex is basically sold to commercial fruit growers, so it's going to be hard to find a homeowner amount, but it's actually a bactericide that for some reason actually stops the physiological problem from developing further, and it actually may start reversing the process. So your question about whether or not you should cut the tree down, no. Live with the problem, or if you can find this Gallex, treat it with that.
And what does that cause by seeing that? Does it cause less fruiting, or does it?
No, it doesn't
just
cause any harm to
ornamental?
the tree. It just makes the tree trunk and branches look lumpy.
Okay.
Aesthetics then.
Yeah.
It's basically aesthetics.
I've got lots of things that do that. Okay, that's a good question, because you do see that, and people. There's a lot of things people see that don't look good, but they're afraid that's affecting. But if it doesn't really affect the growth or anything, you should live with it, I think.
Right.
Exactly.
Unless you're buying it for pure ornamental value and you've lost that with that. All right, before we get to the questions, and we are going to get to some questions here, we're going to look at the viewer video mail here.
Hello, Mid-American Gardener. This is a tree in my backyard. It's an evergreen, of course, yeah. You can see that, but there's part of it that's not evergreen anymore. It didn't do too good this winter. There's parts that are brown and dry and easy to break off. And here's a really good section of the brown, easy to break off part of the tree. I think this has seen better days and it's going to have to come down. But I just want to check with you to see if there's any opinions that could save this tree. Thank you.
All right, I think that's going to be a common question after this winter.
The spruce tree, and as a Colorado spruce tree, does not like the Midwest weather. It's a tree that grows high up in the Rocky Mountains, and when it's brought down in the plains of Illinois, it's too hot in the summer, and it definitely doesn't like the drainage. The cold is not a problem. It actually likes cold weather, but it is very prone to a disease called cytospora canker. Look on the trunk for bleeding or oozing and splitting of the bark. And by the way, there is no control for that disease besides remove the tree. And I would suggest, instead of replanting with a Colorado spruce, consider some other kind of spruce if you really want a spruce tree.
Yeah, that's and before I comment on that, I remind people that you can send in video emails. If you have questions and you have a phone or some kind of camera that you can record, you can send that in to yourgarden@gmail.com, and perhaps yours will be the next one we see and answer. And I agree on the blue spruce. We found that you can do it, but it really gets more disease when it's stressed, and it has been
absolutely.
stressful this summer. So really the best thing is prevention, or keeping it watered, fertilizing, keeping it healthy. And I always tell them it's like a human body. The healthier you are, the more resistant you are
If you
to
look at
disease.
where it really grows, it's the tree just below timberline, and the snow above there is melting all summer long, running across the root system, which is basically growing in rock, so that it has very good drainage, cold conditions, because it may get only 40, 50 degrees in a day and drop below freezing at night. So it's not the cold, it's the heat and the poor drainage we have in Illinois.
Yeah, they're very common. And you see the ones that are larger are always a problem, because people spend a lot of money on the younger ones and they're continuing to take care of it, but once they stop that maintenance program is when all these problems happen. So I see it every day, unfortunately. All right, we're going to get to your first question of the day, and we've got line 2, Janet has a question on clematis. Janet, are you there? I can. All right. What's your question for us this evening or today?
I have a clematis that our daughter gave me, and it's probably about 3 years old. And it comes up in the spring, and it has a nice vine to it and green. And by the time it gets to where I could get it to go on the trellis, it dies. And I wondered, it's a vinyl trellis. Is there something that causes problems there?
I don't think it's the trellis that's the issue. A lot of clematis they're very rewarding plants, but some clematis have a tendency to may have a wilt issue, and you have to actually just find the right variety that doesn't. Some are more resistant than others, and it's really frustrating. I've had that happen myself. I know a lot of people who they grow them. They're climbing up the vine or the trellis, and all of a sudden 2 liters will just die completely, and it's really frustrating. And there's really no way to address the fungal issue, but just finding a resistant variety.
Doesn't clematis also require the root system in the lower part of the stem to be shaded?
To be cool, yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of mulch or shaded by another plant is also a good thing. That doesn't usually make them die like that, though.
Yeah.
They're just not vigorous when they're in that
I
situation.
was wondering, I've heard of, that if they don't get shaded enough, they, in the first time will go after the roots, but the lower stem that's exposed may get canker.
Oh yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, they're very rewarding, but there's a few things you have to watch when you're trying to grow them.
I like that term, rewarding.
I had a beautiful one that was against a wood trellis, and I thought maybe that was the problem.
No, I don't think it's the material that the trellis is made out of. I've seen clematis growing into shrubs, up dead trees, just about anything you want to grow them on, they'll grow on. But the real issue is whether or not it's resistant to the wilt issue.
And the top can take the heat, so it's not like it's
Right.
burning out against
Exactly.
the white. So
Yeah.
the bottom shaded, the top can take as much. All right, well, I appreciate your question. We're going to go ahead and move to a line 3 who has a question about box elder bugs. All right, we're going to move on, and we're going to move to line 1. Martha has a question about cypress, either a plant or the country.
Yes, hello. Thanks for taking my call. I'm calling about cypress evergreens, if that would be a reliable shrub plant for this area. I want something that's going to give me a privacy screen.
If it's the Chamaecyparis, I think that's a wonderful genus for this area. And it's a quite varied genus, many species that grow quite well in Zone 5, Zone 6, and better even.
Yeah. You just have to watch the sun on some of the varieties. A lot of people really love the yellows, and you just want to watch the burning on that. That's definitely an issue.
They'll burn in the sun and they'll burn in the wind. There was probably some wind damage this winter from on the yellows
On
particularly.
the yellows, and those seem to be popular just because they're
Yeah,
kind
they
of
are
flashy.
because they're yellow.
And true cypress is not hardy in most of this part of the world.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Chamaecyparis is they do well,
It's
but
a-
you do
it's a
have to watch
false
the
cypress.
location.
Some species, yeah, and that's the issue. Is it cypress or false
False
cypress?
cypress,
Yeah.
False cypress. And the water is another issue. They do not like the clay and to sit in that water and rot out. You have to be careful. But that's true with a lot of plants. We probably could tell you many different things that don't want to sit in water. Drainage is important. But cypress definitely have a place. A large screen of multiples, you'll definitely have to be choosy in your location and your plant. I wouldn't plant 15 cypress in a row. I would maybe make a section of that screen. But talking to the right person and looking at the right location definitely would be a beautiful plant.
Definitely.
So do they tolerate a little bit of shade?
Some of them do.
Yes.
Yeah, the yellow ones certainly do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for calling in. We have another question here. Dan on line 4 has got a question about a maple tree. And then we're going to get to a viewer call in.
Yes. Hey, I got a maple tree. I think it's about 30 years old. The root system, grows right along the top of the ground. Can them be cut off without hurting the tree?
I wouldn't recommend chopping off the roots because that will stress it out. If you're trying to grow grass among the roots, I would actually consider, and if you're trying to mow that grass and then nicking the roots with the mower, then I'd actually kill off the grass and mulch instead.
Okay. What kind of grass should I plant there? The grass dies every year also.
Well, if it's a Norway maple, I missed what kind of maple you said it was.
Soft maple.
Soft maple. That's a wide range. I mean, that includes a bunch of different kind of maples. One of the maples that causes the greatest amount of shade are the Norways. And you basically don't grow grass under a Norway. You just mulch it or grow a ground cover.
Yeah, that's the problem
Okay.
with trees is you got roots competing against taking water from it and then lack of sun, and those two are exactly the opposite of what grass likes.
Precisely. Yeah.
So we do have people that live in our town of Urbana that have big trees, and every year they seed it, they get the grass to grow, it dies out at the end of the year, and they repeat the process. Those are the only people I know with grass, and it's quite labor intensive, but they like their grass, and that's how it works. But otherwise, lots of mulch is a good way to go.
What kind of mulch should I use?
Oh,
Any kind of organic mulch, wood chips, you know, is the most common, but I would not use rocks.
No.
I don't like rocks as a mulch around plants. Rocks, mulch where you don't want anything growing is fine, but if you want to grow plants, use an organic mulch.
yeah, and you shouldn't have too
Okay.
many weed problems in that situation
Right.
with some nice mulch on there. So, and it'll be ornamentally nice, and the tree will enjoy it. Just everybody wins
Exactly.
in that situation.
All right, so don't cut off the roots.
No.
No.
Okay. Okay, then that's all I want to know.
All right, thank you for the phone call. All right, before we get to some more questions, we're going to go in and look at the Did You Know segment. You saw what that means. That means you need to plant a couple trees in your yard because you're using up more than one a year. That means you better put some out there. At least somebody will better. We're not going to have any boxes. Everything's going to be shipped in that plastic. All right, we're going to have a little round here of some more questions.
Okay. All right, mine is about persimmons. And this person notices in seed catalogs that if you want to grow persimmons, you really need to have 2 trees, a male and a female. So if you order 2 trees, how do you know if they're sending you one of each sex? Well, the good catalogs are going to have grafted materials, and they're going to say this is a male and this is a female, and you know, one male can probably service several females, but if they just send you 2 seedlings, you know, it's the luck of the draw. What else? Talking about American persimmon, back on the farm they had only 1 tree and it produced every year. My thought on that would be that there were probably wild persimmons in woodland or something not too far away where the pollen could get moved back and forth and do that. There's an American persimmon called Medder that is supposedly self-fertile, and I think I ran across another one. The name escapes me. So if you only have room for 1 tree and there's no other persimmons anywhere in the vicinity, you might try one of those that's supposedly self-fruitful. I suspect that they would be even more fruitful if there were a male handy. They don't come into fruiting real fast. Certainly a seedling, it would be 7 to 10 years or more. The grafted one's probably a little faster than that.
Yeah, that's one where you probably want to buy a little bigger tree if you want to enjoy it without having to wait for your children to enjoy it. All right, you have a question as well?
Yes, sir, I do. This is about smokebush. I have a 2.5-year-old smokebush. I would like to keep it pruned about 6 or 7 feet. I have 5 to 6 shoots which have grown to be about 8 to 10 feet tall. When is the best time to prune these down? Smokebush are fabulous bushes. I just love them. There's such a wide variety on the market available now, from bright yellow-green to this luscious deep purple. But they do have a tendency to get tall and gangly, and I can understand perfectly why he wants to keep these pruned down. The rule of thumb about any flowering shrub is that you want to prune it right after it flowers, just so you don't accidentally cut off the new buds for next year, should it be producing its flower buds on the old stems, which is the case in the case of smokebush, Cotinus. And if you can give up that smoke, which is what most people grow it for, then you want to prune right after it flowers, but you're still kind of giving that up. But coppicing or cutting it down to the ground is a really great way to keep it under control. cutting it back to between 4 and 6 inches tall, the entire bush, and letting all that new growth come up the next season. Again, you're giving up the flowering, but you're getting lush new growth, which has the deepest, most intense color, and it keeps a better, much better form.
Yeah, the smoke bush is definitely one that when you take it back, that color is so, that new growth is so rich.
It is, absolutely.
It's a great plant. I saw it at the Indianapolis Zoo. I'll never forget. I really wasn't too fond of it, and they had it growing in all different conditions. And they, you know, you could tell it was not getting the best of care, but it seemed to thrive. So it was just
it's
just
a lovely
beautiful
bush.
plant. All right, we got another question.
Okay. This is a person who has a 10 by 15 foot garden, and he's growing tomatoes, peppers, and green beans. And his problem is that as the tomatoes grow and set fruit, and then they suddenly begin to dry up. And somebody told him that he had fusarium wilt. And then they told him that he needed to cover the vegetable garden bed with black plastic and cook the soil for the entire summer. I wouldn't do that because it'll cause other problems. Plus, I wasn't sure that you actually have fusarium wilt. You may actually have verticillium wilt, or, and if you actually are buying the VFN varieties of tomatoes, you wouldn't have them in the first place because they're resistant to those diseases. And so my question is, since I don't know what the actual description of this disease is, are you confusing or somebody diagnosing fusarium wilt when you have a leaf disease like early blight? Early blight causes leaves to turn yellow and get brown spots, and they turn brown eventually from the bottom up. Fusarium wilt will cause the leaves to turn yellow and brown and that from the bottom up also, but the vine begins to die. And one of the ways to separate fusarium wilt from verticillium wilt will kill the entire plant. Fusarium wilt can kill the entire plant, but a lot of times it only kills part of the plant. Both fusarium and verticillium will also leave brown streaking in the vascular tissue of the plant, where the leaf diseases do not. And with the leaf diseases, there are fungicides. With the wilts, your best control is by VFN varieties.
Yeah, that's again, that's going to be another common question coming up with the tomato season right around the corner.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, well, if you've missed Diane by watching me all today and really want to spend more time with her, her Arkansas trip still has 4 tickets left, but there's only one more day. Tomorrow's the last day to buy them. So you can go to the WIL website and get your tickets. Again, there's only 4 left, and if you want to spend a little extra time with Diane, that's a perfect chance to do it. So again, one more day left. We're going to try and take another phone call here. We're going to go to line 2, Sue, who has a question about roses.
Hi. I have 2 climbing roses, and they were supposed to only get 6 foot tall, and they've gotten huge, and they wrecked the trellis, and now I'd like to move them to a different spot and put up a sturdier trellis. When is it going to be okay for me to do that?
I'd consider doing that right now.
Yeah, I was going to say today.
I'd cut them back somewhat, maybe to 4 feet-ish, and move them now before they start breaking bud.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bye.
And keep them pruned.
Yeah, that's one thing I tell everybody as a nursery owner and a grower. We tend to go to the small side on the plants because if we tell you the true size, you might not ever buy them. So so if you see a size, go ahead and add 20 or 30% to that, and that's probably the realistic size.
That's probably right.
It's that's just kind of how it works. We try and give you a real size, but plants really never stop growing, so it's kind of difficult.
So you can have a rose-covered cottage.
Exactly. Yeah, 6 feet meant it was going to be 9 feet, so it's right on the money. All right, we're going to try and get another phone call in. We've got line 1, Mike, with a maple tree question.
Yes, hello.
Hi, what's your question for us?
Yes, you had a gentleman on earlier who had a soft maple, and he was wanting to know what to do with it. And one question I didn't think really came up is there anything you can plant out there with that maple tree that will live? Because I have the same problem. A lot of bare dirt.
The ground covers it.
Yeah, like a pachysandra maybe.
Or Baltic ivy.
Ajucas.
Yeah,
I think planting pots with ornamentals in them is a great way to go because most things will not grow well under shallow-rooted maples. They're notorious for that. And doing something above ground is maybe one way to address the issue. Putting out pots or some kind of a raised situation, not soil certainly, but a raised pot that you can put some plants in. But right on the ground, there's just not a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that
and
is
one of your
successful.
favorite, there's a reason there's a lot of hostas underneath trees.
Yeah, even that's difficult sometimes.
If it
some
gets
of
bad enough.
the roots are so involved, it's difficult to get in there and plant your plants. That's exactly right, Shane.
But I will make one suggestion. You don't plant, if you are going to go with live plants into the ground, make sure that you don't plant the entire root system with the plants, because you chop too many roots off. Put a few in here and a few over there, and then next year plant a few more in that until you have the whole area. Don't try and plant the whole root zone in the same year. You could damage the tree to the point of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the mulch comes that we talked earlier. Mulch just makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
Right.
it
And
does.
again, I always tell people, you can cut a root here and there, just don't get a little too crazy when it comes to, because a tree does have to live. But if you have to put in an edging or something, you can work a little bit with it. But again, one of your most difficult situations. Well, thank you for watching this evening. We're going to be here next week, so we hope you'll join us at that time. Thank you very much.